If I had arrived only 30 seconds later, the truth would have died inside that dumpster, and so would everything I thought I knew about my family. My name is Eleanor Brooks, I'm 68, and until recently, I believed my biggest heartbreak was losing my only son, Michael. He died 3 years ago in what everyone, including me, thought was a tragic accident. But everything changed the moment I saw my daughter-in-law, Rachel, tossing my granddaughter's old baby blanket into the trash like it was a piece of rotten food. It wasn't just any blanket. It was the blanket. The soft pale mint one I knitted for little Ava the day she was born. I'd been driving past Rachel's house, the way lonely people sometimes drive by places that hold old memories, when I saw her dragging out several heavy garbage bags. Her movements were abrupt, almost angry. And then I saw it. Ava's blanket hanging out of one bag like a limp piece of cloth begging for rescue. I froze behind the wheel. That blanket had been Michael's favorite thing to wrap his daughter in. He used to joke that it was grandma-approved magic fabric. After his death, the blanket had felt like one of the last warm ties between him and the world. So why throw it away? When Rachel shoved the bag into the dumpster with far more force than needed, my stomach clenched. Something was wrong. Something was off. And when she slammed the dumpster lid, brushed off her hands and marched back into the house without looking back, I knew I wasn't imagining it. The moment her car engine started and the garage door closed, I moved. I rushed to the dumpster, lifted the lid, dug through plastic bags until my hands brushed the familiar yarn. When I pulled the blanket out, it smelled faintly of Rachel's expensive perfume mixed with something metallic, almost like cold coins or hardware. I didn't wait. I took it home, locked my front door, and laid the blanket across my bed. My hands moved over it with the tenderness of someone touching a memory. That's when I felt it. A lump. Flat. Hard. Hidden deep between the layers of the stitched fabric. My heart stuttered. Someone had sewn something inside. I grabbed scissors. Threads popped quietly, one by one, until the opening widened and the object slipped into my hand. A small black phone, old, dead, and intentionally hidden. And when I finally powered it on, what I found changed everything I thought I knew about Michael's death. Because inside that phone was the first clue that my son didn't fall. He was pushed. And the person who helped cover it up was someone I once trusted with my whole heart. If the photos shocked me, the messages shattered the last pieces of the world I thought I lived in. I didn't expect the phone to even turn on. It was outdated, scratched, and had clearly been handled roughly. But after 10 minutes of charging, the screen flickered to life. No password. No lock screen. Just an open doorway to secrets someone never intended me to find. The first thing I opened was the photo gallery. I shouldn't have. There she was, Rachel, sitting in some dimly lit restaurant, her lips curled in a smile she had never once shown me. And beside her, leaning close enough to practically breathe the same air, was a man I'd never seen before. Sharp jawline, suntan skin, cocky grin. His arm wasn't just around her shoulder, it was claiming her. The dates hit me like a slap. All taken while my son was still alive. I kept swiping. Rachel and the man, laughing on a beach, tangled in bedsheets, clinking champagne glasses in a hotel room. Frame after frame told the same story. My daughter-in-law hadn't just betrayed her marriage. She had lived a double life. Tears blurred my vision, but I forced myself to keep going. Something inside me whispered that the photos were only the beginning. I opened the messaging app. And that's when my breath left my body. The messages between Rachel and someone saved as R, as if she was hiding him behind an initial, shifted from flirtatious to sickeningly intimate, and then to something far darker. Rachel, I can't do this anymore. He won't agree to a divorce. R, just be patient. Rachel, patient? I'm tired of pretending. There has to be a way. I need him gone. I reread that sentence a dozen times, each pass slicing deeper. Gone. Not out of my life. Not separated. Gone. My hand trembled as I scrolled. Each message grew more desperate, more unhinged. Rachel. He will never let me go. You know that. Rachel. We could be free. We deserve that life. R. This sounds crazy. Rachel. I talked to someone. They can help us. Someone? Who? And help with what? The messages abruptly stopped 1 week before Michael's death. I set the phone down. My stomach twisted. My heart pounded in my ears. My son's fall. The one we all accepted as a tragedy. The one Rachel cried about. The one she described in painstaking detail. What if none of it was real? What if the whole thing was staged? Because buried in those messages was a name. One I had never heard. But one I knew I'd have to find. Whoever he wasn't just Rachel's lover. He might have been my son's killer. I thought the messages were the worst of it, until I found the note that proved Michael never stood a chance. After I finished reading the messages, I sat there frozen, my fingers numb, my breath shallow. The phone seemed heavier than before, like it carried the weight of a truth I wasn't ready to hold. But I couldn't stop. Something inside me, maybe a mother's instinct, knew there was more. Something darker. I opened the Notes app. There was only one note. Just one. Dated 2 days before Michael died. And it read, Tuesday, 3:15 p.m. He'll be home alone. Make it look natural. No one can suspect. My blood ran cold. The room tilted. I had to grip the bed frame just to steady myself because those weren't just cold-blooded instructions. They were a plan. A schedule. A script to stage my son's accident. I read it again and again, hoping, praying it was something else. A reminder, a random thought, anything other than what it clearly was. But there was no other interpretation. Someone planned Michael's death down to the minute. And the person who wrote this note, whoever used this phone, was a part of it. The silence in my bedroom felt suffocating. I stood up, paced, sat back down. Every emotion collided. Grief, rage, disbelief, betrayal. I felt like my skin couldn't hold everything I felt inside. Finally, I did the only thing I could. I called my oldest friend and neighbor, Gloria Turner. A woman I've trusted with every trouble since my husband passed. The moment she answered, I barely managed to get the words out. Gloria, I need you. Come now. She arrived in 10 minutes, wearing slippers, still in her pajama top, her face tight with concern. When I showed her the blanket, the phone, the messages, the photos, the note, she didn't interrupt once. She just kept getting paler and paler. When she finished reading, she whispered, Eleanor, this isn't just cheating. This is a murder conspiracy. Hearing someone else say it aloud made it real in a way it hadn't been before. My knees buckled and Gloria caught my arms. What do I do? I asked her, the words breaking. Gloria didn't hesitate. First, we find out who this is. Then we take everything to someone who can actually help. She grabbed my laptop and pulled up Rachel's social media. Together we sifted through dozens of names. But then we found him, the man from the photos. Ryan Hale. The same smirking face. The same arms wrapped around Rachel. My stomach twisted. This had to be him. And if Ryan Hale helped Rachel plan Michael's death, I needed to know exactly how far they were willing to go, and whether they were still watching me. The moment I saw Ryan Hale's face staring back at me from that screen, a chill crawled up my spine, as if the man himself had just walked into my house. Gloria zoomed in on his profile picture. The resemblance to the man in Rachel's secret photos was undeniable. Same sharp features, same confident smirk that looked more like a warning than a smile. His page wasn't private, which meant we could see everything he'd ever posted. He lived right here in our city, worked in construction, single, and apparently had been friends with Rachel long before she ever married my son. Scrolling deeper, Gloria clicked through old photos and then she froze. Eleanor. Look. This one. It was a group picture from 4 years earlier. A barbecue. And there, standing among strangers, was Michael, my son, smiling with a plate full of ribs. And just 2 people over was Ryan. My heart cracked. Michael had met him. Probably shook his hand. Maybe even trusted him. And all the while, this man was having an affair with his wife and possibly plotting his death. I had to look away. The betrayal was too much. Gloria pinched her lips, thinking, we need to know more. Who else is tied to him? Who he talks to? If Rachel still sees him? My pulse hammered. What if he's dangerous? Gloria squeezed my hand. He is dangerous. Which is exactly why we need to be smarter than him. That was when the idea came to her, bold, risky, and exactly what we needed. We're going to Rachel's house, Gloria said quietly. I stared at her. Are you out of your mind? No. Listen. She still lets you see Ava sometimes. You'll go inside. Distract her. I'll slip in behind you and look around. If she hid a phone, she might have hidden more. My first instinct was to refuse. It was too dangerous, too unpredictable. But then I thought about Ava, my sweet granddaughter living under the roof of someone who might have murdered her father. And suddenly, fear didn't matter. I messaged Rachel asking to visit Ava. At first, predictably, she refused. Today's not good. Ava's fussy. Maybe another day. But I pushed back, claiming I had a small gift and wouldn't stay long. After 10 tense minutes, she replied, "Fine. 30 minutes. It wasn't an invitation, it was a crack in the door. And sometimes all you need is a crack to blow the truth wide open." Gloria and I drove together, our plan sharpened by fear and determination. When Rachel opened the door, she greeted me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. And I knew instantly that she sensed something, but she didn't know that while she watched me, someone else was quietly slipping into the shadows of her house, hunting for the one thing that could expose her. The second I stepped into Rachel's house, I felt it, that heavy, suffocating tension you get when danger is close enough to breathe your air. Her smile was too tight, her posture too stiff, her eyes darting between me and the hallway as if she were guarding something. This wasn't grief. It wasn't stress. It was paranoia. "Come in," she said, her voice sugary in a way that scratched against my nerves. I stepped inside, gripping the small gift bag I brought as part of the act. Behind me, the door closed with a soft click that felt louder than a gunshot. Rachel led me into the living room, her heels clicking sharply across the hardwood, the scent of lavender cleaner burning my nose. "Ava's upstairs," she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear too quickly. "I'll go get her." The moment she turned the corner, I pulled my phone from my pocket and texted one word to Gloria, who was waiting outside. "Now." Seconds later, the front door creaked open behind me. Gloria slipped inside silently, like a shadow, and disappeared down the hallway toward Rachel's bedroom, the place most likely to hide secrets. I forced my breathing to stay steady. Rachel returned with Ava on her hip, my sweet girl with Michael's big brown eyes. When she saw me, she reached out with tiny arms. "Grandma!" That single word nearly broke me. I hugged her tightly, inhaling the soft scent of toddler shampoo. Rachel hovered close, watching me too closely, arms crossed. "Don't stay long," she said sharply. "Ava's tired." I smiled gently. Of course. But her eyes narrowed. Something about my calmness made her tense. She kept glancing toward the hallway, the same hallway where Gloria was moving quietly, searching. I needed to stall. So I talked. About Ava's preschool. About the weather. About a photo of Michael I found the other day, just to gauge her reaction. And oh, did she react. At the mention of Michael's name, Rachel stiffened like I'd struck a nerve. She swallowed hard and tried to change the subject, but I kept gently circling back, watching her facade crack at the edges. Minutes dragged like hours. My heart pounded so loudly I wondered how Rachel didn't hear it. I kept waiting for her to notice the quiet footsteps upstairs, for her to smell the danger creeping through her house. Then, at last, Gloria appeared in the hallway, pretending to adjust her sweater as if she'd simply stepped out of the bathroom. She gave me a small, almost imperceptible nod. I recognized the signal. She found something. I stood, hugged Ava one more time, and thanked Rachel for the visit. But Rachel stood frozen, eyes narrowing like she sensed the air shifting. And an eerie thought flashed through my mind. She knows something's wrong. What we found hidden upstairs proved Rachel wasn't just guilty. She was preparing for something far worse than we imagined. The moment Gloria and I stepped out of Rachel's house, she grabbed my arm with a force that told me whatever she'd found upstairs wasn't just important. It was dangerous. We hurried to the car without looking back. My heart hammered in my chest, convinced Rachel would burst through the door at any second and demand to know what we'd done. Only when we were safely inside and the doors were locked did Gloria finally speak. "Eleanor." She had a hidden folder in her closet, buried under storage bins. Her voice trembled, not from fear but from shock. I swallowed. What was in it? Gloria reached into her purse and pulled out a manila envelope, thick and bent at the corners from being crammed into hiding. My hand shook as I opened it. The first thing I saw was Michael's life insurance policy, $500,000. But that wasn't the worst part. The beneficiary wasn't amended after his marriage. Rachel had been the only name on it. And 3 months after Michael's death, the entire payout had been deposited. Gloria leaned closer. Keep going. Next were bank statements. Large transfers. Repeated. One in particular made my breath catch. A transaction for $180,000 sent to an account under the name Ryan Hale. Oh my God, I whispered. She paid him. Gloria nodded grimly. Paid him for what we already suspect. But the final document in the envelope made my blood turn to ice. It was a birth certificate. Not Ava's real birth certificate, the one Rachel had shown us years ago, but another one. An original. A state-issued document with official seals. And under Mother it didn't say Rachel Hale. It said, Lydia Torres. I stared at the name, my entire world tilting sideways. Who is Lydia Torres? Gloria looked up slowly, fear widening her eyes. I don't know. But according to that certificate, she's Ava's biological mother. Not Rachel. I felt physically sick. Was Ava stolen? Kidnapped? Bought? The certificate didn't list a father. No hint of who he might be. Just Lydia. And a birth date that didn't match Rachel's pregnancy timeline. Gloria exhaled shakily. Eleanor, this is huge. Rachel faked a pregnancy. She lied to Michael. And she might have taken that baby from Lydia. We need to find this woman. But as soon as she said the name, an uneasy thought crawled through me. What if Lydia wasn't alive? What if Rachel had silenced her too? And when we searched Lydia's name online, the truth we uncovered made one thing horrifyingly clear. Rachel wasn't just a liar or a cheater. She might be a killer. I typed Lydia's name into the search bar expecting confusion. Maybe nothing at all. What I didn't expect was a headline that made the room spin beneath me. The article loaded slowly, as if the internet itself hesitated to deliver bad news. Local woman missing. Family pleads for answers. Beneath it was a photo of a young woman. Brown hair, tired eyes, soft smile. She looked no older than 23. The caption read, Last seen 4 years ago. 4 years. Right around the time Ava was born. Right around the time Rachel pretended to be pregnant. My throat tightened. Gloria moved closer. Keep scrolling. The article described Lydia as quiet, responsible, devoted to her newborn baby. A baby she told her coworkers she loved more than life itself. Then one day she vanished. Left her apartment, never returned. No signs of struggle. No calls. Nothing. The only thing reported missing with her was her infant daughter. My pulse crashed in my ears. Gloria, that has to be Ava. It fits, she whispered. But the worst was yet to come. Beneath the main report was a shorter article from 2 years later. Remains identified as missing young mother, Lydia Torres. The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. Gloria read aloud in a hushed, horrified voice. She suffered fatal head trauma. Found in an abandoned lot outside the city. Case closed due to lack of suspects. Head trauma. The same supposed cause of Michael's accidental fall. I sank back against my chair, shaking. Gloria. Rachel killed her. She had to. Gloria nodded weakly. It explains too much. Rachel wanted a baby. Lydia had one. And Rachel, well, Rachel has no limits. I stared down at the birth certificate in my trembling hands. Ava wasn't just taken. She was taken from a dead woman. And now Ava was living with the person who might have caused that death. We're going to the police, I said suddenly, voice firmer than I felt. No more waiting. No more guessing. We have enough. Gloria hesitated. Eleanor. You know how this sounds, right? A hidden phone, affair photos, money transfers, fake birth documents, dead mother. She paused. It's a lot. But it's enough for real investigators to dig. She was right. We gathered everything, the phone, the envelope, the screenshots. I didn't sleep that night. I kept seeing Lydia's soft smile. My heart ached for her. For the baby she never got to raise. For the truth buried under Rachel's lies. The next morning, Gloria drove us to the police station. My hands were ice cold the entire ride. But I wasn't turning back. Not with Ava's life tangled in all this darkness. And when the detective heard my story, he didn't call me crazy. He said 5 words that confirmed my deepest fear. This wasn't an accident at all. When a detective looks you in the eye and tells you your son didn't die the way you were told, your whole world cracks open all over again. Detective Jack Rowan was a tall man with thoughtful eyes and a voice that carried the weight of decades spent seeing the worst in people. He didn't interrupt once as I laid out everything. Rachel, the secret phone, the affair, the money transfers, the forged documents, Lydia Torres, and the way all the timelines twisted together like barbed wire. By the time I finished, my throat felt raw. Detective Rowan leaned back in his chair and tapped his pen lightly against his notepad. "This is serious," he said quietly. "Very serious." Gloria squeezed my hand under the table. He opened the manila envelope, scanning the insurance papers first. $500,000, collected 3 months after Michael died. He looked up. "Did you know he even had a policy this size?" I shook my head. "He never mentioned it. Maybe he didn't think he needed to." Rowan frowned. "Or maybe he didn't know she was the sole beneficiary." He flipped to the bank statements next, his brows rising at the $180,000 transfer to Ryan Hale. "That's a lot of money for a friend," he said flatly. "And the timing? Right after your son's death? Very telling." When he reached the birth certificate, his expression hardened. This could blow the entire case wide open," he murmured. "If Ava isn't biologically related to Rachel, then Rachel falsified documents. That alone is a major felony. But combined with a missing woman? A dead woman?" He shook his head slowly. "This isn't just suspicious. It's criminal." My voice trembled. "What about Lydia? Her death, the head trauma. That's why we need to reopen her case." Rowan closed the folder firmly. "And your son's?" My breath caught. "Reopen Michael's case?" He nodded. "We'll request an exhumation for a second autopsy. If there were signs of restraint, force, or anything inconsistent with a fall, we'll find it." Hearing the words exhumation and Michael in the same sentence nearly tore me apart. But I also felt something else. Hope. Brutal, painful hope. Rowan continued. "I'll also put surveillance on Rachel's house. You said she seemed on edge? Nervous?" "Yes," I whispered. "Like she was waiting for something." He wrote that down. "If she suspects she's being watched or investigated, she may try to run. Or worse." A chill ran through me. "What about Ava?" I asked. "Can you protect her?" "Legally," he said carefully. "Rachel is still her guardian. Until we have concrete evidence, my hands are tied. But if she tries anything unusual, we'll know." It wasn't enough, but it was something. Rowan stood. "We're going to get to the bottom of this, Mrs. Brooks. I promise." For the first time since finding the phone, I believed someone. But none of us knew Rachel was already one step ahead, and planning her escape before the truth caught up to her. Detective Rowan warned me Rachel might run, but I didn't expect her to make her move so soon. And when she did, it nearly cost us everything. The days that followed were brutal. Waiting is its own kind of torture. Every hour felt like I was sitting on the edge of a cliff, praying the ground didn't crumble. Gloria checked on me constantly, and Detective Rowan called whenever he had updates. The surveillance team reported that Rachel was behaving normally enough, but they sensed tension, nervous pacing, frequent phone calls, bags being moved around. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Michael's face. Then Lydia's. Then Ava's tiny hands reaching for me. On the 5th day, Rowan called. "We exhumed your son yesterday," he said softly. "Preliminary findings show signs of restraint on his wrists. Bruising consistent with being held down." I gasped, hand flying to my mouth. "It wasn't a fall," he continued. "Somebody staged it." I had known, deep inside my bones, but hearing it confirmed shattered me. I broke down sobbing, my grief resurfacing like a fresh wound. Gloria held me through every tremor. But the storm wasn't done. The next morning at 4:57 a.m., my phone rang again. It was Rowan. His voice was sharp, urgent. "Eleanor, get dressed. You need to come here immediately." My heart dropped. "What happened?" "Rachel," he said, breath tight. "She tried to flee." I nearly collapsed. "What?" "With Ava." "With Ava," he confirmed. "We caught her at the airport less than an hour ago. Fake passports. $500,000 in cash. One-way tickets to Belize." My stomach turned over. "She knew," I whispered. "She knew we were closing in. She suspected something," he said grimly. Surveillance saw her packing last night. We intercepted her just in time. By the time Gloria and I arrived at the station, Rachel was in an interrogation room, her hair messy, mascara streaking down her cheeks, not from sorrow but from fury. She glared at the two-way mirror like she could burn through glass. But none of that mattered. All I cared about was Ava. She wasn't in the interrogation room. She wasn't crying in a corner. She wasn't with Rachel at all. A social worker entered holding a small hand. And there she was, my granddaughter, tired, confused, clutching a stuffed bear like it was life itself. "Grandma," she said, running toward me. I sank to my knees, arms wide, tears spilling. She was safe. Finally safe. But as I held her, Detective Rowan approached us slowly. "There's something you need to see," he said. "Rachel isn't talking, but her boyfriend is." My pulse quickened. "Ryan Hale." Rowan nodded, expression grim. "He's telling us everything. And Eleanor, what he just admitted will change this entire case. Because Ryan didn't just confess to helping Rachel, he revealed a truth even darker. Michael wasn't Rachel's first victim. And Ava wasn't the only life she destroyed. I was prepared for lies. I was prepared for excuses. But nothing prepared me for the moment Detective Rowan said Rachel had done this before. The interrogation room felt colder than any winter I'd lived through. Through the glass I could see Ryan sitting stiffly in his chair. Legs bouncing, eyes wide and red. He wasn't the cocky man from the photos anymore. He looked like someone drowning in his own guilt. Rowan folded his arms. Ryan broke faster than I expected. Fear does that to men like him. He didn't realize Rachel would throw him under the bus at the first opportunity. I swallowed. "What did he say?" Rowan exhaled slowly. "He said Rachel isn't who she pretends to be. She's done this kind of thing before. Twice." My entire body went numb. "Before?" I whispered. "To who?" "Her ex-fiancé for one," Rowan said. "A man named Calvin Reed." I frowned. The name rang a faint bell. Rowan continued. "Ryan claims Calvin died in a boating accident 6 years ago. But he says Rachel was there that day. He says she staged the whole thing to collect insurance money and leave with another man." My stomach twisted. "And the police never suspected?" Boat capsizes, alcohol involved, young couple celebrating. Easy for investigators to label it a tragic accident. Rowan paused. "But when you compare the details between that case and your son's, the parallels are disturbing." I covered my mouth, trembling. "And the second person?" I asked. Rowan hesitated. "Not a good sign. That one," he said slowly, "was Lydia Torres." My heart nearly stopped. Ryan claims Rachel didn't plan to kill her. She only wanted the baby. But Lydia fought back. Things escalated. Rowan's jaw tightened. He said Rachel hit her hard. Panic set in. They dumped the body in an abandoned lot and disappeared. A sharp pain shot through my chest. "And Ava?" I breathed. "Did Ryan know what happened to her? How Rachel took her?" "He says Rachel told him the baby was adopted privately. He didn't question it." I shook with rage. "She stole that baby. She stole Lydia's life. She stole my son's life. How? How can someone be this evil?" "Because she's a manipulator," Rowan said. "Expert level. Charming when she needs to be. Cold when she doesn't. People like Rachel know how to play every angle." I looked through the glass at Rachel, smirking now, as if she knew she'd still find a way out. Her confidence made my skin crawl. "She's dangerous," I whispered. "Even behind bars." Rowan nodded. "Which is why we need one last piece, the weapon used on Lydia. Ryan claims Rachel kept it. A trophy. A trophy." My blood iced over. "And we think it's hidden somewhere in your son's old house." I stared at him, stunned. Rachel's house. The same house I had just visited. And worst of all, Rowan revealed that the murder weapon wasn't just hidden there. It was hidden in a place only I would ever think to look.